Okay, everybody, today is January 8, 2015. Let's go over some of the market and we'll take a look at some of the stock that I also posted on my blog and also tweeted out this morning on some of the setup. So let's start looking at the Dow Jones Industrial. In the last 2 days, the Dow Industrial have recovered over 500 points. And we seem to have seen this picture before, right? When the Fed minute come out or the Fed meeting ended, we see a pop and then we see a little follow through. And it's kind of, a little bit of a coincidence too, right? If you recall that a lot of time that the market come down, and as soon as those events take place, they pop it up. I remember last night or yesterday, I tweet out, is it going to be a dump and pump or a pump and dump, right? So once again, it's basically we got this little dump, and then now it's a pump, right? So here we go again, and let's take a look at what transpired since the end of December. We saw the market start coming down, and then at the beginning of the year, this month, this week, it's kind of come down, and we start tracking these level on where it's going to find support. Now, also reminded that I have indicated that in one of the posts that we had, the transportation made an all-time high, and that kind of alerted us that expecting the Dow Jones Industrial to see another new all-time high before it rolls over. So right now, we basically was kind of monitoring when it start coming down or where it's going to find support and start to get a bounce. Right? And the first level that we're looking at was basically the September pivot high, the closing high here. Right? And you can see that when it came down, we also have this trend line here. When it was coming down, we were kind of monitoring for this particular trend line as well. And here's that December low. Okay? So if it was going to break below the September high, then the next level of potential support will be basically this December low. As it turned out, it came down and tagged this September high and got a bounce. And also note that I have the Fibonacci retracement on this particular swing move. And you can see the 618 is right off in confluence with the September high also. So you can see that it just came down, sort of tagged that September high and got close to that 618, and we got a bounce here. So now we're essentially looking at this, this high here, this pivot high somewhere around the 18,000, right? That level, that closing level is actually 17,958.79. So somewhere around close to 18,000, right? The high on that was 17,991. Okay, so we're probably looking at that, and then the talking head probably start monitoring this 18,000 again, and then all these monitoring about getting back up to the 18,000. But in any case, we're going to look for that and see could it get back up about this level, and if it does, then there's a good chance that it will come up and tag the all-time high and possibly put in a new closing high. Okay, so intraday don't count. We're basically looking at the closing level. Right. So that's basically the Dow Jones Industrial. And again, we're also looking at the transportation. The transportation, well, here's that transportation closed at a new all-time high on the 29. Okay. So and that was the day that kind of flagged us that expecting the Dow Jones Industrial to tag a new high before it's gonna turn over. So right now, same thing. We're basically looking at the September high as this September pivot point here as the one of the possible support level, and you can see that it came down, penetrated a little bit before it got a bounce, and also using this high here and the low down here, we've got this swing. Put the Fibonacci retracement on it. You got 618. So it's in confluence with the 618, and we got the bounce. Okay, so right now it's kind of tagging this 50-day moving average. It seems like there are some people out there looking at these 50 days. So that might be a little bit of a resistance here, and so it depends. After all, we did have a pretty dramatic move in the last 2 days, so a little bit of a pullback is not surprising. And tomorrow is also OPEX. So there's going to be a low volatility and some gamesmanship. So you just kind of expect anything that could happen, right? Just like every day that we come into the market, expect anything, right? Because there's no something that that the market could do anything it want to do. So right now we're essentially just looking for this thing to come back up and see what could find the resistance. Maybe it's just coming up to tag this all-time high again. But for now, maybe here's this little pivot high as well over here. That could be the next potential resistance that we might want to keep an eye on, which is 91.52 on a closing basis. Okay, so just kind of watch that on the transportation. And then on the S&P 500, again on the S&P 500, just like all the other indexes, we're basically watching the September high. And you can see that it came down on this, we're also at this trend line. It went right to it. So we're thinking maybe it would come down and tag this December low. And as it turned out, here's the 618, with this Fibonacci swing here, the Fibonacci retracement 618. So we got close to the 618 and we got a bounce. So right now, essentially, we're looking for this particular pivot high, somewhere around 2075 as the next potential resistance if it's continued to move up. Okay, then then blink an eye going to here on this 50-day moving average. It just went right to it. You can see the distance, above this 50-day. Okay, so we're probably looking at this level here as a next possible resistance if it will get up that high. Because again, tomorrow is OPEX, anything could happen. And then the Nasdaq 100, the Nasdaq 100 is beginning to putting a lower high here, back in December, and then you can come down. As it come down, we're also again, tagging this September pivot high here as a potential, support level, and it wasn't that too much away from the December low. Okay, so you can see once again, the Fibonacci retracement 618 is in confluence with those particular pivot point, and you can see that it actually, got a little bit of a bounce up there and got back to this trend line. Right now, we're essentially looking at maybe, just a maybe on this particular pivot low, this 42.75, somewhere around here could be a potential resistance. If it's not, then we probably could see this thing maybe come up and test this pivot high here, somewhere around 43.14, 43.15 level on the Nasdaq 100. Okay, and then finally on the Russell 2000, that too, we're looking at these pivot point as a support level, and you can see that it came down to these, these pivot points here and got a little bounce. And again, if you look at the Fibonacci retracement, it's 618. So there seems to be a little bit of a common theme here that a lot of these, essentially all these indexes came down to the 618 and bounced off the Fibonacci 618. So it seemed like the Fed trader is really watching those levels on these, or the machine is basically be programmed to, tag that 618 pretty much. Anyway, so right now it's, came back above this pivot high here. So the next potential resistance I'm looking at is basically this level 1208.65, which is the March, previous all-time high level here that was made in March, 4th, 2014. So we could take that out, then there's a good chance that the Russell will probably come back and maybe tag this recent all-time high here, and maybe put in a new all-time high. So that's basically the market. The market have been, recovering again, after it seems like it's doing another V reversal. So, you see this V here, a little V here in the December. So we're probably seeing another V here. So, this game is going to be play out until the central bank manipulation come to an end. Then the market will do what it normally will do. So for now, we just have to play along whatever the game is being played. We just, just kind of bounce along like a bouncing ball, right? So anyway, let's go and take a look at some of the stock. One of them is the CYBR software. Remember, we were looking at it earlier, trigger on a swing long, and it didn't work out. So right now we basically got a little of a engulfing candle with a couple inside candle here. So we got a little revision here because we're basically still playing off of this particular trend line. And let me take this trend line here. Originally, this was part of a channel, and that's no longer valid, or we're no longer interested in that channel. So right now, essentially coming down on this trend line here, but we're basically looking for this breakout of this engulfing candle high. So if we could break through that, then we might want to play this as a swing long. Now, again, we have to pay attention to this trend line as a potential resistance here. So you got to be quick with your hand. If it come up here and stall, then you might want to just set up on a break even, and then just take yourself out instead of watch it come back down and then break this lower trend line. Okay, because if it kind of fake you out, that's fine. Then we just look for another setup. Maybe there will be a setup to break this trend line, then we'll play it up. So right now, essentially, we're looking for this break, break of this pivot high here on this candle, somewhere around the 39.49. Okay, don't buy it on a couple penny above this high. Make yourself a little room to get a little confirmation to make sure that it's not the machine. Just try to hit those, buy stop. All right, so just let it come up to to your entry level, and then there would be maybe a potential resistance up here as well. So it's probably near your 1R, and maybe get a little resistance up here. So maybe might want to scale some out at that point or whatever, depending on your trading plan. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you how to trade these things, none of these videos. So you just have to trade according to your plan, and then potentially the target is for this high here, 47.01. Okay, that's basically the target that trying to target this particular trade. Now again, the target is not the objective. Okay, so don't just sit there and wait until the price get up to that point before you get out. It's basically is a target that we try to hit, and doesn't necessarily mean that it will hit. So you have to manage your trade to depending on your trading plan, to when to take the profit, when to move your stop, and so forth and so forth. Okay, so these are just a little setup here for you to kind of use it however you like, according to your trading plan. And here's 3D system. 3D system originally we're looking at this particular trend line here. Let me go and get this trend line. Okay. So we're basically looking at this particular trend line here, right, and then play out of this breakout. Remember this right here, at the first 5 minutes, it actually went up, to and tagged the intraday high in the first 5 minutes of trading, and trigger it went above the trigger level, and I put out that that's one reason why it's not a good idea to try to initiate swing long in the first 30 minutes. Trading. Unless you're a day trader, then that's a different, trading style. But for swing long, I usually try to avoid to get in the first 30 minutes. I kind of wait until it and then let it settle down. And as it turned out, it faded all day, right? Then you could see that actually came down and broke. That trend line came down. So right now, we're basically looking at a different trade setup right now. But, again, this could be also your trigger level as well. So if I let's go and zoom this in, and you can see that there is a little bit of an inside bar here, and this engulfing candle, I believe, right? So the high is 31.38, and this right here, the high is 31.22. Okay, so we'll get a break on this, right? You got a break on this today, right, at this 31.38. So you could play this and play it up. Again, play this gap fill here essentially. So there's two possible targets. Right, 38.92, this pivot here, or this particular here level here on this 42.48. Okay, so or you could just basically be a little conservative and wait until the price break above this particular level, right, which is once again, this pivot high here, or you might even want to, after you get a trigger, maybe you put your entry a little bit, somewhere above this particular intraday high, which is 33.97. Okay, so you might want to play that. And again, if you got in on this thing today, because there's this trend line break here, we're basically playing for this breakout of this engulfing candle plus the breakout of the trend line. Okay, so if you got in on this trade, move up here, then maybe you want to stop, move your stop tighter and kind of minimize your risk, or might even want to scale out some. Or some people want to get up to this level, they might want to add some, right? You might have got in on a partial position here, and then when it get up here, then you might want to add some to your remaining position. So there's a lot of different ways that you could trade these setup. I'm basically just going through these setup to give you some idea. Okay. So, and then the next one was Twitter. Twitter. We look at Twitter, and a couple days ago we were talking about there's rumor that Yahoo, some guy make a case of why Yahoo should buy Twitter, and Icon may have a position on Twitter. So they ran the price up. Okay, just like this analyst day, they ran the price up, and then the following day they took it back down, and the same thing here, they took it back down. So we're kind of like, hey, is this the same movie that we're watching? So it could be, but right now it seems like maybe a little bit different feel. Right now it's kind of looking through this 50-day moving average as well. It's also a inside bar here. Okay, so essentially you're playing for a breakout of this engulfing candle. So you got these two inside candle here. So essentially you're playing for a breakout of this inside candle. And again, the target is still coming back to this 43, which is, this level here. Okay. Okay, so basically still playing for this target and possibly got up to this gap fill or this earning opening price here somewhere around the 47. So anywhere between the 43 and 47, that's basically what we're playing. Okay, so again, basically, depending on how aggressive you are, you could use this, as your, dead stop here or somewhere, or you could, switch it to some other time frame that you trade. Maybe then you could find some, pivot point there to do your stop here. If you're trading on a 30-minute, or maybe using a 60-minute or whatever. Okay, so again, I just cannot emphasize enough. Just trade your plan. Don't listen to other people tell you how to trade. Okay. Just look at these setup and then see how you could incorporate these into your trading plan. And if you don't have a trading plan, go learn how to do one first, because you shouldn't be trading without a plan. Okay. And here's Facebook. Again, we're looking at Facebook on this trend line here, right? Basically this particular trend line on this earning gap, we're looking at this trend line, and it's basically been hugging on this trend line, kind of moving, been trending it up. So right now we're seeing this, come down and getting a bounce off this trend line. Once again, this engulfing candle here with this inside candle. And when I tweak this out this morning, it's already broken through this high here. Okay. But also the other thing is, when I tweak these things out, I do not have a position on Facebook. I'm not like other people that they tweak things after they establish a position and try to hype it. I typically do not talk about my book. Whatever I trade, I try not to talk about what I currently actively trading, that I have a position. If I do, I talk very little if I do. So a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, all these things, I usually do not have a position on it. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm trying to, sort of like front running you, or try to, establish a position and then get you to, hype it up for you to pump it up or whatever. Okay. So right now, essentially, I'm still looking at Facebook could break through this, this trend line here, and if it, it can get in on this break, when it break about this trend line, then maybe we could, just move your stop. You see this low here, that could be a stop, and just kind of run it up, or you could wait for a little bit another setup here, just above this this trend line, and play it up. Essentially you're trying to play Facebook back up to its all-time high, somewhere around this 82 level. Okay. Then on Alibaba, again we got this declining price channel. Okay, although we're looking at these level here, the 101.20. Okay, It came down, and with looking at this 99.70, this is the IPO high. Got close to it on this day. It's actually got down to 99.90, so it's 20 cents shy of getting to that 99.70. Okay, so right now, kind of bouncing back and came back and reclaimed this 103.90, which is this pivot low. Right. So again, still confined in this declining price channel, and I said until it could break this price channel and possibly get above this pivot high, which is about 110.65. Essentially break this and make a higher high, right? Then we could say maybe it's have a possibility of moving it back up and try to put in a new high on Alibaba. But until then, we can see this trend line as a resistance and have this thing pushing back. And if it pushed back to the lower price channel, then it could easily break this 99.70 and come down and possibly get down to these levels here that I've always been looking at. And it in confluence with 78.6. And you can see right now it's kind of into this we call a retracement zone. Between the 30, the 50 and 38.2. These between 38.2 and 61.8. You can see a lot of retracement. Bouncing around here to try to get out of this zone and then break one way or the other, depending on which side you're going to break. So we're basically looking at it to see can it get back above that 38.2. So which would be, if it break above this trend line here, then it definitely would get out of this 38.2 retracement zone and then maybe possibly work itself up to this 110 level. So you might want to keep an eye on this. Okay. And then finally on Apple, we're basically looking at this trend line initially when it come down, was coming down, and we're basically sort of looking at this particular pivot level here, 109, and once it came down, then we're looking at these kind of price level and also this trend line here before we even consider looking at this 103, because if we break this trend line, then we're basically looking at it to maybe possibly come down and test that 103, and this is the trend line that we're talking about, right? This earning gap. So this trend line got a little bit more point, and we also got the pre-earning pivot low here, and on this trend line, and as it turned out, there's 3 touches here, with the recent touch. So right now we're essentially looking at Apple that it came down, it bounces off this trend line here, and right now it's getting back up at this declining trend line here, and also a little bit of a confluence with the 50-day moving average. So we'll see, if it could break above this trend line and move up to this 114, 115 level, then maybe it have a good possibility of taking it back up and maybe tagging a new all-time high. So again, tomorrow's OPEX, so anything could happen. And Apple is one of those stock that they're going to play a game with. And so good luck to all of you tomorrow, and see how this game is going to play out tomorrow. Have fun. Good luck.